Oh no! Riley blocked me! What am I gonna do? Riley! Why'd you block me? I never tweeted you or nothing. I made videos about you, but I always thought I was kinda nice. Fuck that. What am I gonna do now? Do you realize the damage you're doing to my channel, Riley? How am I gonna make up a fake account on Twitter and catfish you into like doing something fucking weird or saying something funny? I wouldn't actually do that. I wouldn't actually do that. That's kind of fucked up. But still, oh wait a second. Well, I guess I could still make up a fake account because you just blocked my main account, so I can still talk to you. I'll have Jesse talk to him. I'll have Jesse talk to him. Oh. There we go. Hello! It's Andy again from the Egocast channel. And today I'm doing a collaboration with Daddy Negs himself. Hashtag stay negative. What up, yo? Or whatever. Alright. Anyways, yeah, we're doing a thing. So, fucking here we go!
Hamid Khalid Darwish is
That's Darwish.
a 53-year-old Iraqi man with a wife and 3 kids. From 2003 to 2013, he worked as an engineer and interpreter for the United States government. This kind of work put him and his family in danger because of anti-American militia in the area. Fearing for their lives, Darwish and his family were forced to move to a different city in Iraq twice. In 2014, he applied for special immigrant visas for himself and his family. After 2 years of intense vetting, interviews, and screenings, he and his family were approved. They got on a flight as soon as they could, but when they landed at JFK, they were detained because of Trump's executive order. Mr. Darwish's family was eventually released, but CBP kept him detained for over 19 hours and didn't let him speak with his attorneys. The ACLU filed a lawsuit against the federal government on his behalf, and he was eventually released thanks to the court order issued by federal judge Ann M. Donnelly.
So, what? He was released. He's here. Yay!
Ali Khashbakti Vayagan is an Iranian whose son is a U.S. citizen who works as a nurse in Indiana. Mr. Vayagan's wife had successfully moved to the U.S. a few months earlier on a valid visa, but when he tried to do the same thing, he was detained. His brother, Hossein, arrived at the airport to pick him up and was in tears when he realized what was happening to his brother.
But we are people, we are not the government. We are not doing nothing. If the government does something wrong with this government, we are not responsible, American and Iranian. What they can do? Why I have to be punished for somebody else's problem? I don't know what I have to do. We run away from the Iranian country. They do something like this, but we didn't know we're going to have the same situation here. I'm a U.S. citizen about 15, 20 years old, yes. And my brother didn't do nothing wrong in no place in the world. And I didn't do nothing wrong.
They use emotion is weak weapon. I wish I didn't lose the clip of that guy saying that. I have to re-record that. Damn it.
Judge Donnelly's court order came too late for Mr. Vayagan. He had already been put on a plane back to Dubai where he had flown out from. 4 days later, he managed to get on a flight back to the U.S. thanks to a decision by U.S. District Judge Dolly G. and the hard work of the ACLU.
So, he's in! Woo! Welcome home!
Fuad Sharif Sulman is an Iraqi who worked for the US government as a translator and program manager. He and his wife and 3 kids went through 2 years of intense vetting to get their visas, and his work with the US government put their lives at risk. They sold all their belongings, the kids were taken out of school, and they boarded their flight. They had a layover in Cairo, and at that point they were told they couldn't board the plane to the US.
I am not going illegally, I am legal immigrant. This is the point. And for me personally, I have prepared for this journey, for this immigration, for 2 years. I sold my house, I sold my properties, The most annoying thing that I feel guilty, my kids left school.
After a week in limbo, staying at a friend's house, they got on a flight back to the US as soon as federal judge James Robart suspended the ban, and thankfully they've now made it here safely.
Woo! Welcome home! Fucking visas are not equal to citizenship. You can have your visas withdrawn, they can be canceled, they can be just fucking not approved. Just because you have a visa doesn't mean you have all the same rights as a goddamn citizen.
Tarek Akel Mohammed Aziz and Ammar Aziz are two brothers from Yemen who boarded a flight to the US before the executive order was signed. They had legal immigration visas, meaning they were green card holders. When they landed, they were told that their visas had been canceled and that they had to sign a paper or they would be barred from entering the US for 5 years.
What kind of paper? Just a blank paper? What did the paper say? Do you even know?
They were not allowed to speak to their father, a US citizen living in Michigan, or their lawyer. They were sent to Ethiopia where their passports were confiscated, and they can't return to Yemen because of the war going on there. They're still stuck in Ethiopia. These people who had legal green cards were deported and still can't come back.
Finally! We found a case where somebody was deported and can't... Oh, they're here now anyways. Woo! Welcome home!
An unnamed 5-year-old was detained at Dulles Airport for hours, handcuffed, and not allowed to see his mom, who was waiting for him to arrive. There aren't a lot of details about this case because the mother didn't want to talk to reporters, but a 5-year-old was detained. Sean Spicer later defended this by saying that anyone of any gender or age could be a threat. But really? A scared little 5-year-old who just wants to see his mom? Really?
Yep. Really.
Nazanin Zanouri has lived and worked in the US for the last 7 years.
Oh wait, I almost forgot. Whee! Welcome home, little boy.
Nazanin Zanouri has lived and worked in the US for the last 7 years. She had received a PhD in industrial engineering from Clemson University and worked at a tech company called Module for the last 6 months. She was visiting family in Iran when she heard about the executive order and tried to come home to the US. She wasn't allowed to board her flight because of the executive order. For a while, she worried about what would happen to her home, her car, and her dog. But when Judge Robart suspended the ban, she was able to get on a flight back to the US nearly a week later.
So, what happened? Did the dog die at least? I mean, did something bad happen? Something? Anything? Woo! Welcome home!
Hamaseh Tayyari is a veterinarian who lives in Scotland, but she grew up in Italy after her family left Iran when she was only 2 years old. She still has an Iranian passport though, and when she was trying to return to the UK from Costa Rica, she was supposed to have a layover in New York, and she had the appropriate transit visa. However, because of the executive order, she was unable to board her flight. A GoFundMe was set up to help her book another flight that didn't go through the US, and it raised a few $1,000s pretty quick.
So she even made money off this? Woo! Making money!
Shaheen Hassanpour is a 70-year-old Iranian woman who boarded a flight to the US on Friday before the executive order was signed. She had been approved for an immigration visa, meaning she was a green card holder. She landed on Saturday morning and was detained for over 30 hours. She was told that she would be deported, but thanks to the court order issued on Saturday night, she was eventually released on Sunday afternoon. Her son was waiting for her the entire time at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport.
Did something happen to the kid? No? Nothing? Woo! Welcome home!
Samira Asghari is an Iranian citizen who completed a doctorate in Switzerland and was coming to the US to start a postdoctoral fellowship at Harvard Medical School. However, she wasn't allowed to board her flight to the US because of the executive order. She had quit her job and moved out of her apartment, so she didn't know what to do. Thankfully, a week later, with the executive order suspended, she was able to get on a flight to the US.
Woo! Welcome home!
Mohammed Youssef Dakane is a Somali refugee living in Kenya. He and his family fled Somalia because of the war and had been cleared to come to the US after 5 years of reviews, vetting, and security checks. But because of the executive order, they can't come here anymore. Kenya has said that it will shut down the refugee camp and send them all back to Somalia probably around May.
So they're gonna get sent back home. I don't know why that's our problem. Why is that the US's problem? What does that have to do with us? This is shit that's happening in completely other countries. We don't have control over that. We can't stop them from shutting down the refugee camp so that we can get this 1 or 2 fucking dudes out.
And on top of the thousands of people directly affected by this who are traveling or about to travel to the US, there are many, many more who are now afraid to travel because of the uncertainty.
Well, what? It's a 90-day fucking 120-day ban. Say it. It isn't fucking permanent!
Masih Alinejad is a journalist and the founder of My Stealthy Freedom, which is a campaign against Iran's compulsory headscarf law. While in Iran, she covered stories about the Iranian government's human rights abuses. She has now lived in the US since 2014 as a green card holder and would likely face imprisonment or even death if she returned to Iran. However, her son is living in the UK and she's afraid that they won't be able to visit each other because of the ban. And can you blame her? Green card holders are only being admitted on a case-by-case basis at this point.
But they are still being admitted. Right?
And many green card holders have been detained or deported. That uncertainty and that fear of not being able to leave because you might not be able to come back is affecting hundreds of thousands of people who currently live in the US with green cards but were born in one of those 7 countries.
Then don't leave for 120 days.
Trump and Spicer claimed that only 109 people were affected, but that number is extremely misleading and wrong. That was only the number of people who were in transit when the order was signed and were detained upon arrival.
So it's kind of right. It's just, it's wrong.
The Department of Homeland Security said around 1,000 people were not even allowed to board their planes. Plus, the State Department estimated that around 60,000 valid visas had been revoked.
Which they're allowed to do. 'Cause they're fucking visas.
Though the Washington Post reported that it's more like 90,000. Either way, that's a lot more than 109 people affected, and that number doesn't even include refugees.
And if you think about all the pets that were left at home, all the lives that were affected by this.
So a lot of people were affected, but I think we tend to get lost in the numbers sometimes. I definitely do. We feel like we need statistics to prove everything, and statistics are incredibly valuable and helpful and necessary for understanding problems.
But only if they help understand my side of the problem.
But if we ignore the human side of things, we can start to see these people as just numbers and not as real people.
Look, man, I would love to see them all as real people. I think it would be fantastic if we could bring every single human being into the world, into this fucking country. But that's retarded. We can't do that. We cannot support the world.
That's why I wanted to tell you these people's stories. I don't think it's possible to support the ban if you hear the stories of any of these people.
All these people that got held up for, a week at most, and then still got to fucking go on to go to America? Except for the other guys that are being fucked by other countries that we can't control? Yeah, I feel real bad for them. A whole week. Ooh.
It's easy to demonize those who are other, who are different from you, and whose stories and lives seem far away and unimportant. But we have to recognize that these are real people who are really being affected.
This is so funny when she says this kind of shit because she turns right around and demonizes everyone. I mean, she's demonizing everybody who doesn't agree with her on this.
I don't know if empathy and compassion are things that you can learn. If hearing these people's stories doesn't make you feel for them, I don't know what to tell you.
I feel for him, man. That sucks. I am so happy and I am so proud and I feel so very privileged to live in the United States of America, to have been lucky enough to have been born here. It's awesome. But I would like to preserve that awesomeness by not just allowing every fucking person in the world to come here because shit's better here than everywhere else. Because quickly shit will become not better here than everywhere else. That happens very fucking fast when you start pushing fucking thresholds of population. So, fuck you, man. We can't take everybody.
I want you to try and empathize with these people. I want you to try and imagine what it would be like to be in their situation.
They use emotion. Is very weak. What? I really need to get that fucking clip again.
But I can't make you do that. And I'm sure people are still going to see this and say, screw them, this ban is keeping me safer and that's all that matters.
Hey. There you go.
But first of all, it's not keeping you safer. Nobody from any of the 7 banned countries has ever killed an American in a terrorist attack.
Yeah, so fuck it. Let's roll the dice and let a couple of million of them into the country and see what happens.
But second of all, it's only by pure chance that you're not them. It's just luck that you were born in the US and not Somalia.
Fucking A, and thank God.
And I promise, none of these stories are fake. You can check all of my sources in the description. These are all real events that took place and were widely documented and verified by a variety of sources.
Why on God's green fucking earth you think that I would go to bother to fucking research people who got detained for a day to a week and then were fucking allowed right back? Why I'd care, I don't know. It's fucking stupid stories, every one of them.
In many cases, there were official lawsuits filed with the federal government. Though if you're the kind of person who refuses to listen to anything that doesn't align with your narrative, I doubt that you've even made it this far in the video, much less that you'll bother checking the sources.
Oh no, Riley. I watch every second of every video you do now.
So this is why we were protesting. This is why Trump's executive order is so unethical. These people don't deserve to be treated like this.
A lot of people don't deserve to be treated a lot of fucking ways they're treated. But that isn't the problem of the U.S. government. You act like Trump is literally God. And he's just choosing to not make life wonderful for fucking everyone. Like, you somehow think that because of this travel ban, that kill squads are going around to airports in those countries and killing everybody that can't get on a plane. Like, nothing really truly bad has happened because of this. Some people got held up. Yes. Does it suck? Yes. Are they going to get shot in the streets? No, they're in America. Welcome. Like, a week. Man, I would sit in an airport for a month if I knew that meant I was going to a safe, free country. Fuck you.
I really hope you can feel some empathy and compassion for them.
You're a piece of shit, Riley. Like, just fear-mongering. Fear-mongering. That's all it is. Fear-mongering. Stop fear-mongering. It doesn't do any good. It isn't helping anybody. And you're not even using decent, scary stories. Like, a lady was worried about her dog, but the dog's fine. Oh, mother couldn't get to her kid, but she did, and the kid's fine. Oh, the kid had to wait for his mom, but she got there, and he's fine. And these two guys, they weren't allowed in the country, but later on we found out, yeah, they were. And then there's the one case of the guys who are not even really getting fucked by the ban. They're getting fucked by the government that is closing down the refugee camp. That ain't our problem. Like, that, we didn't have anything to do with that. So, fear-mongering. Stop fear-mongering. I know people in my personal life that are from some of these countries, and they're very scared, and nothing's happened to them, and nothing's gonna happen to them. They're gonna be fine. But they keep having assholes like you come up to them and going, yeah, are you scared of what Trump's gonna do? You fucking assholes. You're the ones making everybody afraid. Stop it. Stop it! God damn it!